everybody, welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news, and I can tell you that Manchester United, according to the very latest reports, have agreed a 5-year deal with Alex Telles, the left-back from Porto. Now, this is a player that we were talking about quite extensively when we were linked in with Reguilon, who is obviously going to Spurs. But interestingly enough, about a week ago, in the live comments, we were talking about who would you prefer, Alex Telles or Reguilon? And, you know, a lot of you did say Telles. And when we were having that conversation, it was very much about Telles is the better player going forward. He takes the free kicks, he takes the corners for Porto, he's more experienced. Those in the know feel that Alex Telles is probably one of the top left backs in the European football. Well, Manchester United have apparently agreed a deal. And I can confirm this is from Mohamed Bahafsi, who has said Alex Telles has agreed a 5-year contract with Manchester United. Premier League club will now seek to agree a fee with FC Porto. PSG are also there, still not thinking about whether or not to make a concrete move. And this has come out literally in the last few minutes. Now, Mohamed Bahafsi is a French correspondent and considered to be quite reliable. Why he would know about Alex Telles from a French correspondent, I can't confirm that at the moment. But this is all very much breaking news. Works for RMC Sport, chief editor there. He did say that we'd made an offer for Badiashile quite recently. So I would say that that is something to bear in mind. But look, we'll talk about that in a minute. I also just want to say as well, this is sort of caught us on the hop here. But as you can see, I've got the little phone next to me showing you the new OneFootball app. And I'm pleased to say that OneFootball is back sponsoring our channel for this video with better graphics, bigger attitude and a whole new vibe. And exactly the sort of place to get all your latest Manchester United news, like this breaking news that we've got now, and also some stuff from Romano to talk about. And they've made it cleaner, simpler and smarter than ever. But that said, underneath it, it's still the great OneFootball app that we've been using for quite a while on this channel, and I'm sure some of you have. You can download it below, links in the video description as usual. It's on Android, it's on Apple, iOS, it's free. The link's in the video description. Download it, give them a bit of support, and you know, get your latest news, get your notifications on. A fantastic app, and certainly one that will be coming in handy at the moment with what's going on with Manchester United, which is Alex Telles to Manchester United. This is nice. It's a real turn up for the books, actually, to have something like this when we're actually live, because Fabrizio Romano this afternoon did say a left back and a winger will arrive at Manchester United step by step. And many of us have been talking in the circles that we have, and obviously I've not been live since that came out, very much talking about how Manchester United, who would the left back be? And the only logical left back is Alex Telles. Ornstein has RT'd it about Alex Telles as well, retweeted it. Could do a swap deal with Delo, send him home, says Ben McMyler. Now it's up to Matt Judge and Ed to agree a fee with Porto. 18 million is a bargain. Surely they can't mess this one up, although it wouldn't shock me, to be honest, says Prem Prodigy. The Dark Scribe says Ed Woodward has been hungry since January. He keeps agreeing terms for these food, then refusing to pay the Waitrose asking price, says the Dark Scribe. And can you say congratulations to Jackson and Amelia on the wedding? Me and my wife just got married. Congratulations to Jackson and Amelia, and I hope you have a fantastic life together. And look, what a night to be celebrating that as well. I'm sorry, but we can't mess this one up. I don't know if he's 28, he's world class for 20 million euros. Get it done to celebrate. Well, he's actually not 28, he's 27 and a half. So let's have a tour de force of what's going on the social media at the moment. Alex Telles has agreed a 5-year deal with Manchester United Football Club. This is coming from Mohamed Bahafsi, who is he's got a blue tick. He's a good journalist, and he's saying that Manchester United have agreed terms. However, let's woe the horses back a minute, because what's very, very important when we're talking about this, and welcome to Carl Lewis, the latest member of the United Stand Members Club. I wonder if it's Carl Lewis, the ex-sprinter. You never know. But look, there are very big similarities here to what we had with Reguilon, where we agree the terms with the player, but we've not put a bid into Porto yet, and PSG are monitoring. That is the important thing to say. So whether David Ornstein is retweeting it, or whether Mohamed Bahafsi is saying anything about it, whether Fabrizio Romano comes out and says something about it, which I'm sure he will do, the reality is Manchester United have not had a big bid accepted, and PSG are potentially competition. However, there is something to be excited about, and remember, Fabrizio Romano did say this afternoon that United would sign a left back and a winger, and the left back for me can only be not Mohamed Bassi. He's going to be our new left back. It can only be Alex Telles. I mean, look, it could be a lot of other players, Tagliafico at Ajax, but Manchester United have not been linked to him. To be fair, as I said this afternoon or this morning, the Portuguese press have been talking about Alex Telles to Manchester United quite a lot, and it's always quite difficult to understand what's going on with the Portuguese press, because they sometimes do use us in a way that is using us to try and generate interest. And there's no doubt that Porto are quite happy to let Alex Telles move on. But this is looking very, very good. Alex Telles has agreed a 5-year contract with Manchester United. Premier League club will now seek to agree a fee with Porto. And PSG are also there thinking about whether to make a concrete move. If PSG make a move, we will lose on this deal. That's my only concern. If PSG do make a move, then we will lose. But what will he bring to Manchester United? Well, look, a lot of people know that I really like Luke Shaw, and I do. I really do. The Don Telles, come on, duck anyone else's signing. Sancho next, let's go, says Pete Squire. Well, on a day where Liverpool have bought Thiago and they're getting Jota from Wolverhampton Wanderers, we'll talk about this a little bit more in a moment and what the gist of the show was going to be. But United have got to start doing things. Like, the transfer window is closing soon. Spurs have done bits. Arsenal have done bits. Chelsea have done loads. Liverpool are now doing bits. Liverpool bought 3 players. We've bought 1 in Donny van der Beek. Now, you can argue about why we're focusing on a left-back. We clearly want a left-back. We went for Reguilon, didn't get him. We've gone for Telles, and hopefully we are going to get him. And look, I'm a big fan of Luke Shaw. Ricky this afternoon said Luke Shaw will be our player of the year. I'm not going to say that, but I like Luke Shaw. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer likes Luke Shaw. And I think if you don't like Luke Shaw, that's to your detriment, really, because I think he's done a really good job at United, and I think he's a really good left-back. But if he gets injured, Brandon Williams plays, and that is not good enough. We saw it in the Europa League semi-final. You can't say, well, we've got Dean Henderson and David De Gea, they're both great, who's going to play? One of them won't. And then not have that in every other position. And Luke Shaw's our only left-footed defender, really. I mean, I don't count Rojo, he's rubbish. So to have 2 left-footed defenders is very, very important. And we know that Luke Shaw can probably play left-sided centre-back. So this would be good, and it would also cover Luke if he gets injured or gets tired, and also it'd be very, very good competition for the left-back spot, because this is what you need. This is exactly what you need. Manchester United have agreed terms with Wesley Sneijder to come in and cover the right wing. So sick of this transfer window, sucking the life out of it. It says CRCL20. And PSG has no left back now since Kozara is suspended and Bernal suffered an injury. I think they will move. Thoughts? Says Logu. And Mark, in my day, bids was made before players were even spoken to. Is this the new norm? Says Liam Grogan. It seems to be the new norm, and it may well have always been the norm that you speak to the player before you talk to the club. I just think it's publicised more now that you've agreed a deal with the player because of social media and because agents and everything probably let it leak out there. And my other fear about this is that why has it been leaked out that United have agreed terms with Alex Telles before we've agreed terms with Porto? It puts us in a dangerous situation. And I'm wondering, Mohamed Bahafsi is the man who's leading on this, the journalist who is leading on this story that he's breaking, that Manchester United have agreed a 5-year contract with the player Alex Telles, but have not agreed the terms with Porto, and the deal has not been agreed yet. I'm just wondering if the French Mohamed Bahafsi outlet is doing this because PSG have got wind of it, and if PSG get wind of it, we could lose this deal. So I'm a little bit nervous. We can't miss out on another one. And of course the club will come out and say they weren't in for him anyway, but it's very clear we're looking for a left back, and it's very clear that we need to get this done. The good thing about Alex Telles is he's a very good left back, and he's going to be cheaper than Reguilon. I think you can get him for about £18 million, which is, to be honest, Chelsea were looking at him and they spent 50 on Chilwell. We would be getting, you could nearly get 3 Telleses for Chilwell, and he's definitely, I think, better than Chilwell. I feel like Thiago and Jota plus Bale and Reguilon today, plus Ollie's conference, plus the social media drama has finally woken up Ed and the board, says Tejas Dani. And evening Mark, agreeing terms with the player isn't a problem for us this window. It's putting in a bid and matching the required fee, says Todd Haddon 95. And why hasn't a top club bought Telles before? Now, if he's so good, he's probably always been cheap. He's already 27, so a bit of a worry, says Joshua Harper. And Mark, he's 28 this December. How many years do you think we can get out of him? And is he really worth it, says Kevin SP. I think for a player that's 27, 28, and you're spending 18 million, then I don't have a massive problem with that, to be honest with you. I don't. I think that is a I think that's a fine deal. I mean, to me, I'm not thinking of Alex Telles coming into this team and playing anyway. I'm not thinking of him coming in and playing as our left back. I'm thinking about, you know, having two left backs who can really compete with each other. That's what I'm thinking about. So yeah, it's interesting. Interestingly enough, Fabrizio Romano has not come out and said anything yet, but he has interacted with Mohamed Bouhassi today. And I think it's going to be interesting. It's obviously a lot going on this Friday evening. So, yeah, I've just had a message from the Mupatiers. I'd been messaging them this afternoon to say, heard anything about the left back. Romano was talking about, all I'm getting is Telles, but that seems too obvious. And they've said, yeah, seems like that's the one. So, yeah, I mean, it did seem obvious. Let's go, Mark. Buzzing for tomorrow, United. Just Jordan M. And Mark, yeah, we've done that one. So look, oh bloody hell, we've got 20,000 people watching. Fantastic. Please smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe if you're subscribe if you're new. But yeah, you know, this is not a deal I can moan about. This is not a deal we can moan about. I do wonder why left-backs become the priority over a centre-back. I don't know why the left-back situation has become such a priority. It certainly wasn't at the start of the transfer window, but it's definitely an area that we do need another left-back. So, you know, it's a positive. I think he's a good player. And, you know, to be honest with you, I did say it at the time. Regwell on Arteles, I didn't really have much of a problem with that. I felt Ollie was not confident in the press conference. You can see was not ready for this as he anticipated questions on transfers, says Chantiana. I thought it was a good press conference. You can watch our press conference reaction that we put up this morning. But so let's move on from Alex Telles for a moment, because it's looking like we should get a deal done there. If the player has agreed terms with Manchester United, that means he's happy to come to Manchester United. Doesn't mean that he won't get a counter offer from PSG. Doesn't mean that PSG won't pay more. Doesn't mean that United will agree a fee. But it's a good start by the sounds of it. And Ornstein has unretweeted, says Vignesh. Okay. Well, that was only what somebody said in the live comments. Telles release clause is 40 million euros, available for 20 million euros because Porto have to sell. Our board loves such deals. We will get him for sure, says Mehul. He's also only got 1 year left on his contract. And when talking about the midfield, Ollie didn't mention Lingard and Pereira. Does that mean they are out of his plans, says Mohamed Rishad? And Telles has been doing it at a high level for a couple of years now. I'm very happy with it. Finally, some business, says Lehman. Well, look, a lot of people probably don't know much about Alex Telles, but what I would say is, if you want somebody who's going to get things going in the final third, crosses, he can take free kicks, he can take corners, decent left foot. Wouldn't go as far as saying it's a wand of a left foot like James Rodriguez, but he's definitely got good ball delivery. So it'd be a welcome addition to Manchester United. I personally think, and you know, I don't like this, and I will say this, I personally think that Manchester United may be looking to play a 5-3-2 a lot next season. And the reason I think that is because I know that Ollie's priority was a centre-back and he's not got it. So to prioritise a left-back when you've already got a left-back that you like, what are you going to do with Telles and Shaw? And the most obvious thing is to play a back five with Telles as an advanced wing-back and Luke Shaw as the left-sided centre-back. So I think we're going to see a lot of the 5-3-2 next season because I don't think Luke Shaw can play left-sided centre-back in a back four. I don't think he can do that, but he can play left-sided centre-back, and maybe that's what Ollie's looking to do. Through all the crap this window, if we end with Van der Beek, Telles and Sancho, I'll be happy. Still Glazers out though, says Oliver HD. Well, you should be Glazers out anyway. You know, people should have been Glazers out when we were winning the Champions League. They're not the ideal owners. But if they can get these players in, it would be a big boost. Do you think we will play five at the back a lot more this season, says Santino? I've just said that. I do. I do, for the reasons I've just said. He ain't signing for us. All we do is agree personal terms. He will end up at PSG. I thought Ollie didn't sound that confident with new players coming in, says Sean Turner. Confident. He definitely wants players. That's the most important thing. And and I don't like the 5-3-2, by the way. I must admit, I do not like the 5-3-2, and I don't like the diamond. But there you go. Could United be leaking the deal to create excitement going into tomorrow's game? They're upset with our frustration in the lack of deals, says Jamie. And Dortmund play Bayern on the 30th and Freiburg on October the 3rd. If Sancho plays in both those games, that won't leave a lot of time for United to get the deal done, says Stuart Taylor. I thought the Bundesliga started tomorrow, to be honest. And Tayaz says, no matter how good or bad he is, he will 100% be better than Williams at left back, so it's a win if he comes. And I think that's the important thing. And it's not disrespecting him. Tweet out, Liverpool want to complete Jota tonight, says Lucas Sinfield. Well, we're not a Liverpool fan channel, but we will talk about that. But no, it's not a Brandon Williams hate club. I just don't think he's a left back. I'd like to see him playing more at right back. He's right-footed. I think we'd all agree with that. So let's see what happens with Alex Telles. It's looking positive. Let's see what happens. I'm sure Fabrizio will be tweeting at some point tonight. But he did tweet. He didn't tweet. I think it was on Instagram. He did reply to somebody on Instagram this afternoon and said that Manchester United are looking at a left back and a winger. Well, the left back looks like it's Alex Telles. That's going to be very, very interesting. But he also mentioned a right winger. Now, Manchester Evening News have said that Manchester United's alternatives to Jadon Sancho are Ismail Sarr of Watford, Kingsley Coman, who they won't get, from Bayern, Perisic of Inter, who they can get but is 31, and Douglas Costa, who is more injured than your gran. So really, out of those four, I think the only player is Ismail Sarr, who we were worried about this morning. Now, some of you are actually saying, I wouldn't mind Ismail Sarr at Manchester United. We are going to get a right winger and we are going to get a left back, according to Fabrizio Romano. If the left back's Alex Telles and the right winger is Jadon Sancho, I think we're all very, very happy with the business, even though it's been done too late. If the left back is Alex Telles and the right winger is Ismail Sarr, that is a disgrace. That is a bloody disgrace. And the reason it's a disgrace is this. Liverpool were looking at Ismail Sarr and went for Jota at Wolves to go on the bench. If Liverpool don't even want Sarr as an option to go on their bench because they found somebody better, how can we replace Jadon Sancho as an alternative with Ismail Sarr? It's not going to close a gap on somebody that's 30-something points ahead of us to buy a player that Liverpool don't even want for their bench. You know what I mean? It's levels here. I'm not saying he's not a bad player. If you've watched my watch-alongs on That's Football, I said at the end of last season I really like Sarr. He's very direct, he's very quick. But if he ain't a good enough player for a Liverpool first team or a Man City first team or a Chelsea first team, why the hell would we waste money? I would rather buy nobody than get somebody who's not good enough. And if United think that by buying poor alternatives that we're all going to be appeased, I'm sorry, the world knows you want Jadon Sancho. Get the deal done or don't do the deal. Try and do it next summer. But don't waste half of the money on a player that is nowhere near as good. You know, it would have been like not getting Bruno Fernandes last summer and then signing, Marcus Albrighton. They're not good enough. They're good Premier League players, but they're not good enough. In my opinion, these are the 12 Deadwood players at our club. I know we can't get rid of them, but I would like to know if you agree with the list. Rojo, Lingard, Romero, Delo, Smalling, Mata, Pereira, Joel Pereira, Agallo, Grant, Jones, Fosu Mensah. I don't necessarily agree with Fosu Mensah, Sri. Telles does not offer the ball progression we need from a fullback, considering Wan's attacking weaknesses, says C. Hunt. And imagine your biggest rival signing Thiago and Jota in the same day. Talk about adding insult to injury. Stop moaning about social media and do deals, says Sean Turner. And did you watch the press conference reaction? You were confident as always, but Ollie, no. Frustration, says Chatania. Well, I don't agree with that. But, it's all about opinion. Of course, James Garner's gone on loan to Watford for a year, so we are dealing with Watford. I'm worried. I am worried that we will sign Ismail Sarr. I think it would be an absolute joke. And for the reason that the person just said there, really. Liverpool are Premier League winners. A year ago, they were Champions League winners. That is a good team. That team that they've got already is a good team. They've now added Jota for bench depth and Thiago, who is a first teamer. They are better now than they were at the end of the season. We are not better than we were at the end of the season, and we finished 30-something points behind Liverpool. We've not closed the gap. In fact, they've probably opened the gap even more. And that is the cold, harsh truth. And Alex Telles and Van der Beek are good players to have in the squad and maybe push for a first-team place. But we've already got Luke Shaw and we've already got Bruno and Pogba. These are not priority signings in the sense that, they're going to make us better. They may well make us better. I'm not arguing that they won't. But we still haven't got a right winger and we still haven't got a centre-back. And these are the areas that we needed to improve to close the gap, and we still haven't bought players to close the gap. We've definitely solved an issue, and then it's an important issue: squad depth, quality off the bench. Van der Beek will give us that. Telles will give that. They may well both start, and Luke Shaw and Pogba might be on the bench, or Matic or Bruno. So yeah, we have hit a priority area. We have started to strengthen our bench, and that's very important. But we haven't got a right winger yet, and we've still got problems at centre-back. Liverpool, on the other hand, are title holders, and they've added 2 very good players. One of them will go straight into the first team. One of them will go onto their bench. So we are still lagging behind. Mark, United only done this deal to counter Liverpool signing today of Thiago and Jota. I'm very depressed. Them, City and Chelsea are bantering us, says Andrew C. I'll tell you what, I've always said this though. I said it about Fabinho when they got him. I wish we'd got him. Well done, Liverpool. I also say, I will say it about Thiago. I thought they would get him. Well done, Liverpool. But what really annoys me is how Chelsea, Liverpool and Man City's recruitment department absolutely banters ours. They're so good, they're so efficient, and they're so quick. Like this morning, Liverpool fans were probably thinking we're going to get Thiago. They do Thiago and Jota. Jota out of nowhere. Nowhere, and they've done that deal. Chelsea have been so efficient this summer. Man City did do 2 quick deals at the start. People forget that they got Torres and Aki in, and they will do another deal. Whereas United, we're just so slow. We're just so slow. Fabrizio just tweeted on Tellez, says Mohammed. Thank you very much, mate. Let's have a look at what he said. Lots to talk about tonight as well. Just while I'm doing that, actually, Chris Smalling, the Roma manager, has come out and said that he is confident that Chris Smalling will end up at Roma. So it looks like Chris Smalling will be going, which actually blows in the wind of what Ricky said this afternoon on his prediction that Chris Smalling will play as many games as every other centre-back apart from Maguire. Well, I don't think he'll be playing any by the looks of it. Manchester United want to sign a left-back on the next days. Yes, says Fabrizio Romano. Alex Tellez, one of the 3 names on top of the list. One was Reguilon, out because of the clause in joining Tottenham. United are now negotiating with Tellez as per Mohamed Bahafsi. No agreement yet with Porto. Well, I wonder who the third option is then, because Fabrizio Romano there says that United have 3 options for left-back. They've missed out on Reguilon. Tellez is now probably option 2. Who's option 3? Who is options? But we definitely want a left back. That's the exciting thing, and I don't think we're gonna give up on that. But yeah, it's definitely Alex Tellez, one of the 3 names on top of the list. One was Reguilon. So who's the third one? We don't know. But thanks for Mohammed for telling me that. I did tell you Fabrizio would tweet, and he has done, which is nice when we're live on air. Do you think the FA should penalise clubs that applied for loans or put employees on furlough because of COVID but spend in big transfers? Says Michael Fetti. Not really. Could be Targay, says Justin Lane. It could be Targay. Could be Tagliafico as well at Ajax. I would say. I've got no idea. Absolutely no idea. Mark King says that Sky have just rubbished this story as a load of nonsense. You have got to be a bit careful. This is, I think, one thing. I'm going to give you a little bit of a reality bite here. One thing that we've learned from this transfer window is that we are the victim. The fans are the victim. We've seen on Wednesday that Reguilon was very close to coming to Manchester United. Fabrizio said it himself. And then a couple of hours later, David Ornstein saying Spurs have come in and got him. There is nothing to say that Tellez is going to be a United player yet, because PSG could come in and get him. And United will say again, we felt we were being used. So got to be very, very careful. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I think it's safe to say that United are prioritising a left back, and Alex Tellez is the current focus. I wonder if we'll have to go to option 3. Can't see us signing Sancho if we're after a left-back all of a sudden and playing more 5-3-2. Hope that's not the case and Tellez is just cover for sure, says Green Avenger. Jordan Such, evening Jordan, he says, it will be Sarr over Sancho. Our net spend over the last couple of summers suggests that, says Jordan Such. Welcome to the Members Club, Saeed Rahal Tariq. And Mark, we've got 27,000 watching, which is fantastic. Real videos. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. Bottom right-hand corner and smash a like. And remember, we will be live from around 5 o'clock tomorrow. Watch along against Crystal Palace. 40 plus 18 plus 108 million pounds doesn't seem like something United will do in a single summer. It might reduce Sancho's budget, says Bishwash Mahab. Well, I tell you what, if they sign Ismail Sarr, they can go screw themselves. I'm telling you now. It would just be typical of Manchester United to do that. To save money, go and buy a player that no other Premier League top 6 club would want to put in their first team, and we'll go and do it. The Clowns will sign Danny Rose now, says Alishan Moodley. Well, yeah, Danny Rose is available. It could be him. And Sky Sports saying Tellez is in talks. Nothing agreed, says Mohammed. Well, talks effectively is in talks because we haven't agreed a fee with Porto, have we? But if we can't sign Sancho, we have to sign a player from Dynamo Kiev. I can't pronounce it, the Santif. And apparently Porto want 20 million and United want to pay 15, said Nitin. Well, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. Anyway, in other news, a left back and a winger. We've done that from Romano. Garner's gone on loan to Watford. Manchester Evening News are saying that the right wing alternatives, as I said, are Sarr, Koeman, Perisic and Costa. Negotiations, negative mood, hypocrisy, and United maintain that they're on track. So yeah, I was reading something this afternoon. I think it was an article by Andy Mitten, and he was talking about Manchester United and they feel that they're on track. Their net spend is bigger than most top clubs over the last couple of years. And that they feel that they are supporting the manager. Obviously, this mood, there's this talk of the club not being happy with the negative mood. I mean, as I said, I use the restaurant analogy quite a lot, and it's true. If I'm the chef and the waitresses and waiters, because you get both, came in and said, look, we're getting a lot of complaints about the soup. Am I going to sit there and say, oh, they're a bunch of moaning shits? They don't appreciate my soup. Or are you actually going to go, there might be something wrong with the soup? Your customer's always right. And that, to me, Manchester United putting it out there that, oh, we're not happy with the negative mood of the fans out there, is total arrogance. It's like the arrogant chef who thinks he's the bee's knees. Like, maybe they're not happy with what you're doing because actually what you're doing isn't very good. And there's no maybe to that. We know they're not doing good. And there is a massive amount of hypocrisy to it as well. Because they'll have their shareholders meeting and they'll talk about the massive social media interaction they got from signing Ighalo. And they'll mention all this social media they get and all the positive side of it. Well, I'm sorry, there will be a negative side of it as well. When you do well, you want to talk about all the social media interaction. When you do bad, you don't want to talk about the social media interaction. It's negative. Well, maybe do more good. You did a lot of good during lockdown, so come on, do some more good. Third name on the list will be revealed soon when we fail with Tellez, says Anish, and agreed a deal with a player. When did I hear that before? This window is becoming a joke, says Rupen. Well, in relation to what Rupen's just said there, can I just remind everybody that we have agreed a deal with Jadon Sancho. We've agreed a deal with Jadon Sancho. We agreed a deal with Reguilon. We agreed a deal with Tellez, apparently. We've agreed a deal with players that haven't come to this club yet. So, yeah. We're not there yet. Could the left back be Alphonso Davies? Only joking. We will never sign these elite players anymore. Do you think we'll ever find out who United's third choice was? Says Andrew C. No, I don't think we will. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We are going to have to blood some of the amazing youngsters this season, says Mark Kenton. And customers are not always right, but they are never wrong, says Martin Liu. And a centre-back and a right winger, says Loesch. Maybe a lonely. Still need to do better than the previous season. And Fabrizio has tweeted, I read it out, United, Louis. And agreed a deal FC, says AFC. Well, you're an Arsenal fan watching the United stand, mate. I mean, you're very, very welcome. But, is Robbie not doing a good job these days? I mean, I do think Arsenal will get or Partey, by the way. Of course, a very good comment here from Ryan Maguire. He says, Mark, the third option is Vitaly Mykolenko, apparently Dynamo Kiev player. You're right. You're exactly right. We have been linked to him, so you're exactly right. That's probably the right player. You're right. Chris Grathwall, who is a member, says they reassigned Jones on a 5-year deal at £80,000 a week and have the arrogance to say we don't know what we're talking about. The Glazers suck. Look, I don't care what Manchester United think about me, and I don't care what Manchester United think about you. They don't really engage with you. They don't really engage with us. We're the biggest Manchester United fan channel out there. It's your community. They don't really engage with us. They don't. They could have good relationships with us. They could, build bridges with us. And I'm talking about the collective you. They could collectively build bridges with the fans. They could keep you more informed. They don't. They have this them and us strategy, and I disagree with it. But if you have this them and us strategy, you will always be a distant block that we will look at and give an opinion to because you don't have a relationship with us. So you don't justify what you're doing. You don't open the door. I mean, look, there's nothing I would more like to do than to have an interview with Ed Woodward, because the way we do things is very different to the way some people have spoken to Ed Woodward do things. Would he want to sit down and do that? No, because there'd be scrutiny there. But actually, he should want to do it. You know, Boris Johnson had to do it for 3 months when we were in COVID-19, every day, taking questions, difficult questions. And look, whatever you think about him, that's the way Manchester United should do it, I think. You know, this football club is the people's club. It's our club. What interaction do we actually have with our club? Nothing. Next to nothing. We don't bite. We're just passionate about it. And you know what? Maybe there isn't any money. Maybe the money really isn't there. But imagine if I got to sit down, or you got to sit down with Ed Woodward and speak to him about transfers, and he said, look, we haven't got the money and this is the reason. And we'd be going, well, it's not good enough. But at least we'd get that. What we get is this, we get treated like mushrooms. We get kept in the dark until they come into the shed, take our money and then close the door again. And it doesn't have to be like that, but it is like that. And if you're going to create that world which you've created, you're going to get criticised when things don't go well. I look at Liverpool, I look at Chelsea, I look at Manchester City, and the way they do transfers and the way they are in tune with their fans, way better than we are, is far superior to us. There is an arrogance about Manchester United, and that's fine, because on the pitch you need to be arrogant, but off the pitch you don't be arrogant with your own fans. And I think we are arrogant with our own fans. I think we are dismissive of our own fans. And I think, you know, when statements are coming out like Manchester United are they maintain they're on the right track, they do support the manager, they are doing a good job, you're patting yourself on the back. Maybe look at your customers, maybe look at your audience and see what they do. You know, if you work in most jobs, I remember when I worked in banking, every year there would be a staff survey that went round, and it'd take you about an hour to do it, lots and lots of different questions. And they were interested in what the perception of them was as employers. You know, if you did that now at United, a lot of people would be a lot unhappy in relation to a lot of areas. What are you going to do? Well, they're all wrong. We're doing a great job. Because that's what we do. It's an arrogance. Lawrence Ross, latest member of the United Stand Members Club. Thank you. And Mark, do you make anything of MUTV speaking about Sancho earlier? This is a very good point, Nicholas Mitri. Now then. There is a very good point. All right? We're going through the door or what? Anyway, was it the cat?
Huh?
Was it the cat?
Was what cat?
The door.
Chasing it.
Oh, okay. Made me lose. Yeah, so there was a very, very, very good point here from that's been made there. I did the press conference today, and when the press conference ends, I go live, reaction, sorry. After I'd gone live, Jota is going to Liverpool apparently, Sarab. After I'd been live, I checked, I went on social media, and there was a clip of MUTV, and it was talking about what they, you know, basically on MUTV after Ollie's press conference, they'll have a little chat with an ex-player or something like that. And they spent a minute talking about Jadon Sancho. It was Andy Ritchie and I forget the name of the presenter. And they both basically were saying that Manchester United would Jadon Sancho would be a fantastic player for Manchester United. Of course, it's difficult because of the money, but let's hope we can get him. And I thought, you know what? It's a little bit odd for Manchester United for MUTV, which I've got no problem with MUTV. You know, some people say MUTV is filtered. Of course it's filtered. It's got every right to be filtered. It's the Manchester United fan channel. You know, it's not a fan channel. It's Man United's official channel. They ain't going to get people coming on slagging the Glazers off because it's their channel. They don't have to have that. But when they sit there, and look, let's not forget, it's Manchester United's official channel. These people are filming within Old Trafford, within the offices of Old Trafford. This is like a watered down Sky Sports. Everything will be scripted. They will not be allowed, like I can go, right, I want to talk about how great Luke Shaw is. I want to talk about how rubbish Phil Jones is. Nothing's going to stop me. I can do what I like. If you're at MUTV, if you start saying something they don't want to say, they're in your ear, they're in front of your face behind the camera saying, shut up. So for them to have spent a minute talking about how Jadon Sancho, let's hope we get Jadon Sancho, that's either really misguided or it's a hint about what United are trying. Well, we know United are trying to do it. It's a hint about what United believe they can still do. Because MUTV, to talk about Jadon Sancho for a minute, is basically building up hope And if it's not happening, why would you do that? So United, I think, are still hopeful that they can get that deal done. And I'm still confident that they will, because I think they have to do it. Ismail Sarr ain't good enough. David Brooks ain't good enough. Douglas Costa, he ain't good enough. Kingsley Coman, he ain't coming. Ivan Perisic, he ain't good enough. Jadon Sancho, he's the boy. Adam Wright, latest member of the United Stand Members Club, thank you. It's always the manager who has to sit in front of the cameras and answer the questions. That should be answered by an incompetent board, says Kevin Bishop. There should be accountability, you're right. Mate, not to get too political, but Johnson shied away from a lot of interviews, especially from Good Morning Britain. Woodward seems to cut from the same cloth as Ashji. Yes, but the difference, I mean, Ash, I don't want to go political. It was an example, but what I was trying to say is that he is the Prime Minister, and every day, pretty much, he was going on the press conferences asking questions, the official press conferences. We don't get anything. Jose Mourinho said this himself. He said, basically, there's nothing above me. You know, at Chelsea, I used to have somebody above me who could come out and talk about stuff. There's nobody above me. I'm not doing Sancho. He ain't coming. I'm not doing that. Somebody will clip that now. And I don't speak for that clip. It's just out of context. Couldn't get Dan James quick enough last summer. Swansea player out of the Championship, yet don't want one of the best young players in Europe in Sancho, who performs at the highest level, says Jordan Such. I mean, look, I don't want this to become a Jadon Sancho show, but what I will say is this: I will be. I just turn the kettle off. Otherwise, I'll boil. I'll press the button and I'll start being. I'll Suzanne boil it. I'll boil it. So I have to just walk away at times from this Sancho deal, because I can start thinking things that will get me very, very angry. But I tell you, you know, everyone's got their own angle on things. You know, the thing when I start thinking about the Sancho deal falling apart, and I still think it's going to happen. I'm still 90% club, but obviously there's 10% there. So look, you know, if you throw a dice, you know, I'm trying to think of something. If you flip a coin, 9 times it might go. No, I can't think of something now. 90% chance means that you're going to beat them 9 times out of 10. But one of those games you won't. And maybe that one game, that 10%, could be that Sancho doesn't come. I don't think that will happen. I think he's 90% going to happen. But the one thing that always comes to mind if it did fall apart for me, and everyone will have a different angle, and it will all be based on frustration. But one thing that comes to mind for me is that if we did not... The problem I have, and look, James Cooper said it yesterday. I love James Cooper. I think he's a fantastic journalist. But he said it would be immoral for Manchester United, in so many words, to spend £108 million. We've got the money. We've got the money to do that deal. Why is it immoral to spend the money on a player that is better than anything that we've got, nearly? He's certainly one of the top 3 players in the club. He certainly plays in a position that we desperately need somebody to come into. So why would you not buy the best that's available when you can afford to do it? And the big thing for me that makes it not immoral, and the big thing to me that annoys me more than anything, is only 12 months ago we spent £80 million on Harry Maguire, and yet we're now arguing about not spending a lot of money on Jadon Sancho, who is only 20 million more. That's something that's irritating me, because if there's one deal I wish they had pulled out of Sancho or Maguire, it would be Maguire. Because I know why we paid £80 million for Harry Maguire. It was because Van Dijk went for 75. He's English. Leicester didn't want to sell. But we all know Harry Maguire's not an £80 million centre-back. I said it at the time. I was really happy we got him. He's 60 million, isn't he? At top. He's not an £80 million player. And yet we overpaid on him. And it would just be typical of United to overpay for Maguire, to overpay for other players, and then the one player that you actually want them to spend big on, who they're not actually overpaying for. We are not overpaying £100 million for Jadon Sancho. That will be the one that they make a stand on and say, look at us, everyone, we didn't overpay. And as they walk away with their hands up and we leave them hanging, the hands hanging, we'll be like, you absolute bunch of prats, and worse. Because that was the deal where, yeah, 100 million's a lot of money, but you actually weren't going to overpay. He actually is worth that. And you, prats, have walked away from it thinking you won't be held to ransom when you're not even being held to ransom. You got held to ransom a year ago and you gave £80 million to Leicester. It's 100 for Sancho. I mean, it's there in front of your eyes. You're paying £80 million for a centre-back. So how can a right-winger attacker, one of the best in the world in that age group, be overpriced at £20 million more than a centre-back? You know, it doesn't make any sense. Shout out to my friends Andy, Sid and Chivu and OG watching right now. We love your show. Cheers from India, says SR. And Leon Bailey could be a good alternative, says Shinji the Evil. Look, I like Leon Bailey. I like Ismail Sarr. But I tell you what, if we buy those players, screw you, United board, because that is a disgrace. We're trying to close a gap on Liverpool. We can't make do. If this was the Sir Alex Ferguson years and we didn't get Sancho and we got Ismail Sarr, I'd be like, oh, that's really disappointing. It's like when we got rid of Ronaldo and we brought in Michael Owen. It's disappointing, but Sir Alex, we were already the best team in the country, and with Sir Alex, he'll probably still find a way to win the title. Ollie can't ask for Sancho and get Ismail Sarr. The drop off is huge, and also the gap between us and Liverpool is huge. So not only is that gap still huge, but Sancho sort of gives you a chance to do that. Ismail Sarr starting from here, the gap is bigger. I don't know whether people can understand where I'm coming from, but I've got nothing against Sarr. I've got nothing against Leon Bailey, but they're nowhere near as good as Sancho, and we're trying to close a gap above us. So we're making it a bigger gap. I'd rather we didn't buy anybody than go for people who are not good enough. I think most United fans were hoping to see positive news on a certain Dortmund player this week. However, it never came. It is starting to hurt us now, says Realistic 27. If you told me on Monday morning that we'd end the week how we have, I would have been very surprised. Stephen Edwards says all the transfers could be easily done with the 800 million the Glazers have paid in interest. An absolute disgrace. Glazers out. That's from Stephen Edwards. How can the club be annoyed with the outrage when they themselves put briefings out about breakthroughs in the Sancho deal? They have it coming, says Gustav. I'm saying this to everyone who's watching right now. Guys, don't believe in this 5-year deal crap. They're just spinning it like always for some positivity, says Ames Adamson. Richie J, thanks for the super chat there. Shantana says, we will end up paying 150 million euros for Sancho next year. Same they did for Bruno. Support board. And which United player would you have in your fancy Premier League team? Bruno, Pogba, Van der Beek, Martial, Rashford, Sancho, Greenwood. Shri, if you want any fancy Premier League tips, I did mine just before I came on air. And I don't normally give people tips, but United stand forever. I was going to bring Martial in. I decided against it because it would have cost me 4 points. Bruno is in my team and he is my captain. So that is a little bit of a tip for you. Bruno Fernandes is my captain in my fancy Premier League team tomorrow. And I will be wearing a Bruno t-shirt. If you want to get your t-shirts, they're underneath the videos now. You can get them through YouTube. They ship worldwide and we've got quite a range. Quite a range indeed. I like this tweet. It's Robbie Savage's brother, actually, John, on Twitter. He says, so many Alex Telles experts now. Up until he was mentioned as a target, I didn't have the first bloody clue who he was. And I applaud that. The thing is, though, some people will know. Somebody will know who Alex Telles is. A lot of you will know who Alex Telles is. David Ornstein through The Athletic has... Oh, here we go. It's up and down, isn't it? It's like jumping on a bouncy castle. We are up and down Man United, aren't we? We're up and down. So now David Ornstein of The Athletic has said that Man United sources say there is no agreement in place with FC Porto or Alex Telles, but the club are continuing to monitor the situation. It's monitor the situation, FC. They've held conversations over Porto left-back Alex Telles, as per Mohamed Bahafsi, but club sources say there's no agreement in place with FC Porto or the 27-year-old international, but they are continuing to monitor the situation. So, definitely fasten your seatbelts. It might not go the way you want to do it. Happy birthday shout out to Flex47 from Gemma Johnston. Yeah, big shout out to Flex47, not Flex, who's on the channel, but Flex47, who's one of our moderators. Happy birthday, mate. I hope everyone says that to you. So we started the video with Alex Telles to Manchester United was getting close because Mohamed Bahafsi, the journalist from France, said that Manchester United had agreed a 5-year deal with the player, but had to agree a deal with Porto, and that PSG was sniffing around. Whilst we've been on air, David Ornstein, who was right about Reguilon, has said that Man United sources are saying they've agreed no deal with the player, no deal with Porto, and they are monitoring the situation. So have we not just come full circle to probably where we were an hour ago. We get this breaking news that we're close to a deal, and actually we end up with monitoring FC. And I would say Manchester United are monitoring quite a lot of deals. Only Mbappe and Neymar are alternatives for Sancho. Try getting any one of them for less than £150 million. Sancho at £108 million is a good deal. Mehul, you're speaking my language. And you are because you're typing in English, but you in a footballing sense. Hi Mark, what's your score prediction for tomorrow? Says Joe Murphy. 3-1 to United. And we've been in need of a right winger for more than 5 years. Can't believe we even hesitate when a player the calibre of Sancho wants to come and is available. Says God Henke. And I think you always need to keep that in your mind. You know, I think that's a really important thing to keep in your mind. Whatever happens and whatever you believe is going to happen, we've agreed terms with Jadon Sancho, and he wants to come to Manchester United. Whether we get Sarr or Coman or David Brooks or anything like that, we will always be the club that agreed terms with Jadon Sancho and he wanted to come to our club. Now, will we allow that to fall through, or will we go and get one of the best right wingers in world football at the moment? How do you walk away from that? How do you recover from that? How do you let them recover from that? And as I said, if they think they can buy Ismail Sarr and I'm going to go, that's a really good deal, I won't. I will wish Ismail Sarr all the best at Manchester United, and I will support him as a Manchester United player because it's not his fault. But the bigger argument will be, that is a bloody joke. That is not improving this team. That is not making us close a gap on Liverpool. That is a gamble, and it is cowardly, and it's about saving money for the owners again. And that is what I will be saying, because that is not good enough. It is not an alternative. And Leon Bailey is not an alternative. These are not good enough for what we need when the player that's good enough wants to come to our club. And I agree with that comment. There's probably only Neymar or Mbappe that are good enough to come in as much as Sancho. And I know they're probably better than Sancho, maybe, but anybody else is such a huge drop-off, and I will not applaud that business. It would be cowardly. You know, how often do you get a player of that quality that wants to come to this club and then you turn your back on that deal? You can't do it. I don't care about COVID. I do in a human sense, but not in relation to Man United. They could structure this deal so that they're paid, you know, for the next 5 years, they're not doing as much. I mean, what do we need to do in the next 5 years, really? We don't need to buy any big player. We've got Martial up front. We've got Pogba. We've got Bruno. We've got Van der Beek. You'd have Sancho. You've got Rashford. You've got Greenwood. The expensive areas of the pitch are going to be there for the next 4 or 5 years. So it's not like, oh, we couldn't say, right, Sancho's available for 120 million, 108 million. Let's buy Sancho now, and then over the next 3 transfer windows, summer transfer windows, let's be a little bit more conservative. Because next summer we won't need to go and spend 100 million on a player, because we've got all the attacking areas sorted. We've got all the midfield attacking areas sorted. We'd be looking at a CDM, a centre-back. Well, they're never going to be... You don't need to spend hundreds of millions of pounds on them. So this deal can be looked at as an investment for the next few years, where we can recoup that investment. Anyway, he's almost Sancho's almost the missing piece in relation to expensive signings. The rest of them, hopefully... We might not ever need a centre-back if Mengi comes through and Twansebi. You know, if we get Telles, you've got 2 left-backs. If Brandon Williams does a job on the right, you've got 2 right-backs. Got 2 good goalkeepers. You've got your front line sorted with Sancho. You've got your attacking midfielders sorted. The only position, I think, is CDM. But maybe you develop a CDM as well. We might not need to spend big again, which is why this deal's so important. Mark, maybe Bruno, but the board onto Alex Telles. If Bruno advocates for him, then I am. And I think I'm onto something there, Bryce Jones, as well. Because if we don't sign Sancho, then we'll be spending a lot of money for years and years to come, because we'll always be trying to solve that right wing issue. Here is a funny calculation. 180 million for 20-year-old who might be here for 10 years. 10.8 million a year. And given that we haven't had a quality right winger for the last 12 years, that equals £0 of investment on Sancho. Exactly. You can structure this deal in your mind. You don't have to structure it with Dortmund, but you can structure that £100 million over long... I mean, we're run by businessmen. They know this. They just don't want to do it. They already know. They take loans out. I mean, this is the funniest thing. They take loans out over years and put us into debt and go, we're not really in debt because we can service that debt and we won't get any worse. They know about planning and taking on a big thing and then paying it back. They know that whatever happens with COVID, they know United will make a lot of money over the next 10 years. They could buy Sancho now and write it off very quickly in projected money coming in and projected not going to spend as much in the transfer windows. Easy to do. Easy to do. And that's why they must do it as well. There's so many reasons they must do this deal. The only reason they won't do it is to keep the money in their own pocket. And that will be the cold, harsh truth, which is why I believe they will do it. I believe they will do the right thing for our manager, for our club, and get Jadon Sancho in. Anyway, please smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new. We may get more Tellez news tonight. I doubt it. I think it is where it is. It's monitoring FC again, isn't it? But look, let's hope we can get that deal done. Big shout out to the OneFootball app. You can download it. The link is in the video description for free. It's on Apple and Android. Get all your latest Manchester United news. Get all your soccer news. All your results tomorrow. If you want an app where you can get all the latest news and notifications and score updates and stats. Really good app for that. I use OneFootball. I'll probably be using it on the watch along tomorrow. It's really good for going in and having a look at your stats for a game and voting for your player, your man of the match, and all that stuff. So links in the video description. It's free. Big thanks to OneFootball. Make sure you give it a download and give it a go. Give it a try. And we'll speak to you all in a bit. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new. A steady 25,000 people watching, which is fantastic. I'm just going to do a little round robin over social media just to make sure. Yeah. It's looking good on Alex Tellez, but no deal agreed yet is basically where we're at. And thanks for the contribution from Ramchanda. If United agrees 108 million at the end of the window, there should be any last-minute surprise clauses from Dortmund, Chelsea for two weeks to complete the K deal. Exactly. Yeah, do download the OneFootball app. Thanks everyone for watching, and I will speak to you all very soon. Match day tomorrow, watch along and all that jazz. Very excited. Have a good evening. I'm off to have a beer. What a week.